This testimony was sent to us by Brother Felix. He explains what he saw in hell in his near-death experience. I'm going to read it as it was sent to us. No part was removed or added. Relax and hear his testimony. My name is Felix Martinez, and I am 42 years old. I need to tell you something that happened to me, something that changed everything about how I see life and death and what really matters. For most of my life, people looked at me like I had it all figured out. I was a deacon at Grace Community Church in Dallas, Texas. I led the men's ministry and organized mission trips to Mexico. I was married to my beautiful wife Maria for 18 years, and we had 4 wonderful children together. Carlos was 16, Sofia was 14, Diego was 11, and our youngest, Isabella, was just 7 years old. Everyone in our community knew me as the man who always had his hand up to volunteer, the one who would drive elderly members to doctor appointments, the one who would counsel young men struggling with their faith. I was on the church board, and people would come to me for advice about their finances and their relationships with God. I had built a successful construction business and employed 12 men from our church. People saw me as someone who walked the walk, not just talked the talk. For 18 years, I had been struggling with a gambling addiction that I kept completely hidden from everyone. It started innocent enough when I was in my early 20s. I would go to the casino with some friends after work, maybe lose $50 or $100, and that was it. But over the years, it became something much darker. I would tell Maria I was going to church board meetings when I was really driving 2 hours to the casino in Oklahoma. I would tell her I was meeting with clients when I was actually sitting at poker tables until 3 in the morning. The amounts I was losing grew bigger and bigger. First it was hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands. I started taking money from our business account to cover my losses. I would pay myself fake bonuses to explain where the money went. I opened credit cards in my name that Maria never knew about. I even borrowed money from the church building fund. The worst part was that I started to believe my own lies. I would tell myself that I was just having bad luck, that the next big win was right around the corner. I would tell myself that God understood my struggles, that I was providing for my family in other ways, that I deserved to have this one outlet for stress. I justified everything. When I was leading Bible studies about honesty and integrity, I would think that God had already forgiven me. When I was counseling other men about their addictions, I would think that their problems were worse than mine. When I was teaching my children about being trustworthy, I would think that what they didn't know wouldn't hurt them. The crazy thing was that I really did care about people. I really did want to help them. I really did believe in God, but I had this whole other life that I kept separate from everything else. Like I was 2 different people living in the same body. My wife Maria never suspected anything. She trusted me completely. She would brag to her friends about how hardworking and responsible I was. She would tell people that I was the most honest. Men she knew. Every time she said things like that, I felt sick inside, but I would just smile and change the subject. My kids loved me and looked up to me. Carlos would tell his friends that his dad was the coolest because I was so involved in church and community activities. Sofia would ask me to help her with her homework, and we would pray together before she went to bed. Diego would come to me with questions about girls and life, and little Isabella would climb into my lap during church services and whisper that she wanted to marry someone just like Daddy when she grew up. Can you imagine how that felt, knowing that your own daughter wants to marry someone like you when you were living such a horrible lie? But I kept going. Year after year, the gambling got worse. I would tell Maria that business was slow to explain why we couldn't afford vacations anymore. I would tell her that I was investing in new equipment to explain why our savings account was empty. I would tell her that I was being more conservative with spending to explain why I was stressed about money all the time. The debts kept piling up. I owed money to casinos, to loan sharks, to credit card companies. I had borrowed against our house without Maria knowing. I had taken money from my employees' pension fund. I had even stolen from the church missions fund, telling myself it was just a temporary loan. But every time I tried to pay money back, I would lose it gambling instead. Then last year everything changed. I had lost a particularly large amount of money, about $30,000 in one night. I was driving home from the casino at 4 in the morning, and I was so tired and stressed that I fell asleep at the wheel. My truck drifted into oncoming traffic, and I hit another car head-on. The other driver was hurt, but survived. I wasn't so lucky. The impact crushed my chest and punctured my lung. I was airlifted to the hospital in critical condition. Maria and the kids rushed to the hospital, not knowing if I would make it. The doctors worked on me for hours, but my injuries were severe. I had internal bleeding, broken ribs, and my heart had stopped twice on the operating table. While I was unconscious, Maria started going through my things to bring me clothes and personal items. That's when she found everything. The credit card statements, the loan documents, the IOUs, the bank statements showing all the money I had taken from our accounts. She discovered that we were hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. She learned that I had mortgaged our house. Without telling her, she found out about the money I had taken from the church and from my employees. But I didn't know any of this was happening because I was somewhere else entirely. When I closed my eyes in that hospital bed, I thought I was just sleeping. But when I opened them, I was not in the hospital anymore. I was in a place that looked like a giant underground cavern, but the walls were made of what looked like molten metal. The heat was unbearable, and there was smoke everywhere. The smell was like sulfur mixed with rotting flesh. I tried to stand up, but my whole body was burning. Not just hot, but actually on fire. I looked down and I could see flames covering my arms and legs, but somehow I was not being burned up. I was just in constant, excruciating pain like nothing I had ever felt before. Then I heard the voices, men crying and screaming in agony. I turned around and I could see them, hundreds of men who looked just as terrified as I felt. They were all on fire too, all in the same terrible pain. A voice spoke to me. It was deep and menacing and seemed to come from everywhere at once. It said, "Felix Martinez, you thought you were so clever. You thought you could steal from God and no one would notice. You thought you could lie to your wife and children and get away with it." Then I heard my own voice, but it was not me talking. Something else was using my voice to say things out loud. Terrible things. Every lie I had ever told. Every dollar I had stolen. Every time I had looked Maria in the eye and lied to her. Every time I had taught other people about honesty while I was being dishonest. Every time I had prayed for God's blessing while I was living in sin. The voice repeated every single detail, things I had forgotten about, things I thought no one knew. It was like someone had recorded my entire life and was playing back all the worst parts. Every casino visit, every forged signature, every manipulated bank statement. I wanted to cover my ears, but I could not move my arms. I wanted to run away, but my legs would not work. Other voices joined in. Demons, I think, though I could not see them clearly through the smoke and flames. They laughed at me and called me names. They said I was a thief and a liar. They said I had fooled everyone but myself. They said I was getting exactly what I deserved for stealing from God's house and from my own family. Then I heard the other men. They were telling their stories too. Men who had stolen from their companies. Men who had lied to their families. Men who had lived double lives just like me. Their voices mixed together in a horrible chorus of pain and regret. I do not know how long this went on. Time seemed different there. It felt like hours, but also like eternity. The burning never stopped. The voices never stopped. The regret and shame never stopped. But then something changed. There was a new light, not the red glow of the fire, but something bright and white and pure. It got brighter and brighter until I had to close my eyes. When I opened them again, I saw him. Jesus. I knew it was him, even though I had never seen him before. He was beautiful and heartbroken at the same time. There were tears streaming down his face. The demons stopped talking. The fire stopped burning. Everything became quiet except for the sound of him weeping. He looked at me and said, "Felix, you were never honest with me. You never brought your real struggles to me. You never asked me for help with your real problems. You prayed about safe things, but you never trusted me with your heart." I tried to speak, but no words came out. I wanted to apologize, but I did not know how. He continued, "You helped so many people. You did so many good things. You really did love me and love other people, but you never loved yourself enough to be honest. You never believed that I could love you exactly as you are with all your problems and mistakes." Then he said something that changed everything. "But I still love you, Felix. I have always loved you. Even when you were lying to everyone else, you could never lie to me. I knew about every casino visit. I knew about every dollar you stole. I knew about every lie you told Maria. I knew about every time you stood in front of the church and felt like a fraud." I started crying, not just tears, but deep sobs that came from somewhere inside me I did not know existed. He reached out his hand to me and said, "I am going to give you something you do not deserve, something no one deserves. I am going to give you another chance. You are going to go back to your family. You are going to wake up in that hospital bed and you are going to tell them the truth. All of it." I looked at him and whispered, "Why? Why would you do that for? Me after everything I have done?" He smiled through his tears and said, "Because that is who I am. That is what love does. Love gives second chances. Love believes in people even when they do not believe in themselves. Love never gives up." Then he said, "But Felix, you have to understand something. This is your last chance not just to make things right with your family. This is your last chance to be honest, to live the life I created you to live, to be the person you really are underneath all the lies." The light got brighter again, and I felt myself being pulled away from that terrible place. I could hear his voice getting farther away, but I could still make out the words. "Tell them about me, Felix. Tell them that I love them. Tell them that I am real. Tell them that honesty is the only way to really live." The next thing I knew, I was opening my eyes in a hospital room. There were machines beeping and people in white coats standing around me. I could hear Maria crying and calling my name. "Felix, Felix, can you hear me?" The doctor said I had been unconscious for 5 days, that they had not expected me to wake up, that it was some kind of miracle. I looked around the room and saw my whole family. Maria was holding my hand, but her eyes were red from crying. Carlos and Sofia were standing by the window, looking angry and confused. Diego was curled up in a chair, and little Isabella was sleeping on a cot the nurses had brought in. They all looked so tired and heartbroken. The first words out of my mouth were, "I have to tell you something. I have to tell you the truth." Maria leaned in close and said, "Felix, I already know. I found everything while you were unconscious. The bills, the loans, the money you took from the church. I know about all of it." And right there in that hospital room with my children listening, I told them everything. About the gambling, about the 18 years of lies, about the double life I had been living, about how sorry I was, about how I had seen Jesus, and how he had given me another chance to be honest. I expected Maria to be angry. I expected her to tell me she was leaving me. But instead, she just held my hand tighter and said, "Felix, I have been praying for this moment for days. I have been asking God to save you, not just your body, but your soul. I already forgive you. We are going to figure this out together." My kids did not understand everything, but they knew something important was happening. Carlos came over and hugged me and said, "Dad, I still love you." Sofia said, "We are going to get through this as a family." Even Diego and Isabella, despite being young, seemed to understand that something had changed. The next few weeks were the hardest and also the most amazing of my life. I had to tell my pastor and the church board about what had happened. I had to step down from all my leadership positions. I had to face the employees I had stolen from and tell them the truth. I had to meet with lawyers about the money I had taken from the church. Some people in the church were angry with me. Some people felt betrayed and hurt. I understood why. I had been teaching them about integrity while I was stealing. I had been counseling them about honesty while I was lying. But other people surprised me. They said they were grateful that I had been honest. They said it made them feel like they could be honest too about their own struggles. They said it reminded them that everyone needs forgiveness and second chances. The church board decided not to press charges, but I had to pay back every penny I had taken, which meant selling our house and most of our possessions. Maria and I started going to counseling together. It was hard work, really hard. There were days when we both wondered if our marriage could survive the financial devastation and broken trust. But we both wanted to try. We both wanted to build something new and honest instead of trying to fix something that had been broken for so long. I also started attending Gamblers Anonymous meetings. I had to learn to understand my addiction and develop strategies for staying away from gambling. I had to face the reality that I could never casually gamble again, that this was a lifelong battle I would have to fight. What I learned was that I had been trying to fill a hole in my heart with money and excitement, but that hole could only be filled by honest relationship with God and with the people I loved. My relationship with my family is different now. We lost our house and had to move into a small apartment. We lost our savings and our sense of financial security. But we gained something more valuable. We gained honesty. We gained real intimacy. We gained the knowledge that we could survive anything together. My kids are learning lessons about forgiveness and second chances that I never could have taught them when I was pretending to be perfect. I am still involved in church, but in a different way. I do not teach classes about money management anymore, but I do talk to men about addiction and second chances. I share my story with people who are struggling with their own secrets and lies. Some people think I should not be talking about this. They think I should keep quiet about what happened and just be grateful for my second chance. But I know that Jesus sent me back for a reason. He sent me back to tell people about what I learned in that terrible place. He sent me back to tell people that hell is real, that the choices we make in this life really matter, that we cannot fool God even when we fool everyone else. But he also sent me back to tell people about his love, about how he gives second chances to people who do not deserve them, about how he never gives up on us, even when we give up on ourselves. I am still paying back the money I stole. It will take years to make things right financially, but I know that whatever time I have left on this earth, I want to spend it being honest, being real, being the person God created me to be. If you are listening to this story and you are living a lie like I was, I want you to know something. You do not have to wait until you are dying to tell the truth. You do not have to wait until you end up in that terrible place to be honest about who you really are. Jesus loves you exactly as you are right now, with all your problems and mistakes and secrets. He is not waiting for you to get your life together before he accepts you. He is waiting for you to be honest with him about where you really are. Maybe you are struggling with gambling like I was. Maybe you are lying about drinking, or drugs, or money, or something else. Maybe you are living two different lives and you are tired of pretending. Maybe you are helping other people with their problems while your own life is falling apart. Whatever it is, you do not have to carry it alone anymore. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to have all the answers. You just have to be honest. You just have to be real. And if you are someone who has been hurt by people like me who have lied to you and betrayed your trust, I want you to know that I am sorry. I am sorry for all the church leaders and fathers and friends who have let you down. I am sorry for all the people who have taught you one thing while doing another. But please do not let our failures keep you from believing in God. Do not let our mistakes keep you from believing in love and forgiveness and second chances. We are just people, broken people who need grace just as much as anyone else. God is not like us. He does not lie or cheat or pretend to be something he is not. He loves you perfectly and completely, and he will never let you down. That is what I learned in that terrible place, and that is what I want to share with you. Hell is real, but so is heaven. Death is real, but so is life. Judgment is real, but so is forgiveness. You get to choose every day. You get to choose between honesty and lies, between the real you and the fake you, between facing your problems and hiding from them. I chose to hide for 18 years, and it almost cost me everything. But God, in his mercy, gave me another chance. He gave me a chance to be honest and to help other people be honest too. You do not have to wait for a near-death experience to make that choice. You can make it right now. You can decide today to stop living a lie and start living the truth. It will not be easy. People might be hurt or angry or disappointed. You might lose some things that are important to you, but you will gain something even more important. You will gain yourself, the real you, the person God created you to be. And you will gain the peace that comes from knowing that you do not have to pretend anymore. You do not have to keep track of lies or worry about being found out. You can just be yourself. Imperfect but honest, broken but real. That is the gift Jesus gave me when he sent me back from that terrible place. The gift of honesty. The gift of second chances. The gift of knowing that I am loved exactly as I am. You are loved. You are forgiven. You are given new chances every single day to choose truth over lies and love over fear. Do not waste those chances like I did for so many years. Do not wait until it is almost too late to be honest about who you really are. Thank you for listening. If you have been blessed, please like this video. It will help YouTube show it to more people who need to hear these testimonies today. Also share this video with your loved ones. It will be a great way to communicate Christ to others, and that will be the greatest gift you can give to those that you love. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please do so. It is free, and it is a way of joining this great community of believers. Join us today, and your life will not remain the same. Until next time, remain blessed.